Hi, welcome to KartTV. I'm Neil Schneider. Today I'm here with Pilates instructor Chante and her assistant Kai, and we're going to go over one of the most fundamental exercises, the plank.
We're gonna go over today one of our most fundamental exercises, which is the plank. Don't be afraid. If you've tried a plank before and you know that it's been difficult, fair enough. I still find them difficult. We're gonna work through some modifications that are gonna build up your strength enough to get into a full plank. So Kai, if you could come into a 4-point kneeling position. So you get down onto your hands and knees to start. We're gonna start at our basic plank prep, it's called. So in a 4-point kneeling position here, you're gonna have your knees and hands down on the mat. You wanna make sure that the knees are directly underneath the hips and they're not too far back. Same thing with the hands. You want them directly underneath the shoulders. And then also a nice softness to Kai's elbow so that you can see the creases of his elbows are facing each other instead of locking out the elbows. And then fingers should be splayed outwards, so you have as much of a surface area, as wide of a surface area, connected down to the mat. Okay, and then to prepare, Kai here is gonna curl his toes under so that they're touching the mat. Don't worry, if you have tight feet and it feels tight here, that's okay. These are really good to actively stretch out the back side of the foot as well, which is nice. Okay, so Kai here is going to keep his head in line with his shoulders. Notice how from tail to head, it's a nice long line. There's no overarch in the back, and he's not rounding either. Putting some pressure into his hands and the toes on his next exhale, he's gonna lift his knees up 1 inch off the mat. So you'll notice as soon as you lift your knees off the mat an inch that there's this tightness sensation in the core. That tightness sensation is gonna be your transversus. So it's a core muscle that keeps your low back stable. Basically just think of it like you jumped in cold water and you are holding that belly in. It's freezing, oh my God, just holding the belly button in deep. Kai's gonna keep breathing here for about 3 breaths, keeping, again, long spine, his head's not dropping, his arms are not bending, and he's not rotating those elbows out. Stay here for as many breaths as you can comfortably take, and then slowly bring the knees back down to the mat, and you can bring your bum back to your heels, rounding your spine in a nice shell stretch here, Kai. Good. And then this will be your rest position post plank prep, just to relax. Take a break off the back. Okay, and then moving into some modifications. So some people have some sensitive wrists, yeah? They're little bones in our wrists that take a lot of the load when we're in our plank positions. So if Kai here was sensitive on his wrists, you can take something like a box or even like a chair. I'm just gonna put this in front of you so you can have your forearms down here, Kai. So forearms can come down to the box. Same thing applies with the hands, but now with the elbows. So his elbows are gonna be directly underneath his shoulders. They're not too far forward and not too far in. You can have your hands clasped together here if that feels comfortable. And then again, curl the toes under so they touch the mat and lift your knees to hover an inch. Okay, so the plank exercise doesn't fundamentally change, but now you offload some tension on your wrists to make it a little bit easier there. And then again, he'll stay for as long of a time that he's comfortable with, gaining some of that strength and slowly bringing the knees back down to the mat. And then you can bring your bum back to your heels, round your spine, and just release through the low back, okay? Another modification that you can do if you have access to it, I know not all of us do, a larger hand weight can help offload some tension of the wrist as well. So instead of having the forearms down, you'll hold the hand weights and use that to strengthen the wrists. So that's kind of our plank prep exercise. And you'll do this enough times until you feel strong enough to move to a full plank position. Okay, so taking the box away, I'm gonna put Kai through the full plank just to show you. So have the hands down on the mat here, Kai. Hands are shoulder width distance apart. Proud through the shoulders. You don't want to sink through the chest, okay? Head's in line with the shoulders as well. Kai's gonna extend his legs out one at a time first on his toes, and then extend the other leg out, toes down as well. Staying here in a nice full plank position. It's a considerably harder variation than our plank prep. So if you feel like you want to stay at plank prep for a lot longer than you would think that you would need to, That's totally fine. Just build up your strength in the plank prep, eventually working your way to this. Just making sure that your head is up a little bit here, Kai, and you're pushing up through your chest. Proud through the shoulders here. Okay, and you want to feel that wide sensation through the shoulders so that, again, you're not sinking, and belly button is drawing up to the spine. Cold water, you're drawing that belly button in. Bringing one knee down at a time slowly here. Taking a nice break, you can bring your bum back to your heels, shell stretch. And moving forward as well, if wrists don't end up getting any less sensitive, you can still have the box here to have your forearms down in a full plank. So Kai, why don't you come into your full plank here, extending one leg back on his toes and the other leg to meet it. One thing I want to mention while I have Kai in this full plank position is when you're in your full plank, there are different options for your feet. If Kai were to bring his feet together and legs together, squeezing his inner thighs, he'd have more support for his core, but less support for balance. If Kai, you separate your feet a little bit wider here, now he'll have more support if his feet are shoulder width apart for his balance, but his core is going to have to work harder because you don't have that chain connection connected to the inner thighs, working muscles all together. Okay, so you can always choose feet together, feet apart, just for different focus in your planks. Okay, so for plank prep, you have those options to be either with the box, without the box, staying there until you feel comfortable. And then in a full plank, again, you have the option to have the box or not have the box. But if you're in your full plank, remember, legs together, it's gonna help the core. Legs separated, it's gonna help your balance. So thanks for tuning in to KartTV. My name's Chante, Grunsky, a certified stop Pilates instructor, and those are your different plank variations that you can go through to build up your strength.